The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is well regarded as being one of the best games of all time, one of the best games in the Zelda franchise, one of the best games of Super Nintendo, just an all-around Nintendo classic, right? One of the best games they've ever put out. What would I tell you if I told you that there was a top secret dungeon that you had never even heard of? That's right. A Link to the Past has a top secret bonus dungeon that is very difficult to access, very difficult to complete, but is completely 100% on the Game Boy Advance card. Right. This is like a Game Boy Advance exclusive. This is tied into like the Four Swords thing. So a lot of people don't know that this thing actually exists. A lot of people just think of like the Game Boy Advance version of Link to the Past as being like an enhanced port, when in reality it had like a ton of new features and like quality of life improvements, including a new localization, balance changes. Like there's a lot going on with A Link to the Past and Game Boy Advance. And one of the most interesting is the fact that it did come bundled with a multiplayer mode, right? Four Swords debuted on A Link to the Past. So, if you got like a link cable, if you had like a link cable and people to play with, you could go through an adventure and defeat Vati, the Wind Mage, right? That's pretty cool in and of itself. First multiplayer Zelda ever. But what's also interesting about this is beating Four Swords unlocks the true final dungeon for your enjoyment. That's right. The Palace of the Four Sword is a legit A Link to the Past dungeon that you can find on the Game Boy Advance version of the game. Right. If you clear Four Swords, you have access to it and you can go inside and you can fight harder versions of the Dark World bosses. You go through some of, by far, the most difficult puzzles in the entire game, if not the entire series. And you fight harder versions of the Dark World bosses, each of which have like really cool updates and changes that really radically change how you confront and deal with them. Like, it was so cool to go through this for the first time and see all of the cool little tidbits they did. When it comes to like some of the puzzles, when it comes to like the mechanics, when it comes to like the boss fights, like this is an absolute must play if you are a fan of A Link to the Past. And I highly recommend that everybody go out and play this. You have not beaten A Link to the Past until you have cleared the Palace of the Four Sword.